Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my live videos, and today I'm just be officially updating you on some more latest news. So a bit more additional information to give you an update on in regards to Alexis Sanchez. Also going to keep you up to date of course what's going on with Paul Pogba, and have lots of other things to currently talk about and that. So we'll start out with Alexis Sanchez. So as I have been updating you on a regular basis about Sanchez, obviously we do know that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer does want Sanchez out of the football club, and I think he's set to send him to train with the Manchester United under-23 reserves to force him out of the football club. Now, reportedly, Sanchez is refusing to leave Manchester United. Obviously, there was reports emerged now, was it earlier on this week, saying that Roma had been in talks with Manchester United over the possibility of taking Alexis Sanchez out on a long season loan. But obviously, for the majority of this summer, Manchester United have been trying to get rid of Alexis Sanchez. But obviously, we know we found it very, very difficult, due to his substantial wages, because obviously we do know Sanchez is on 400 grand a week, potentially rising up to 500 grand a week, based on the image rights and the bonuses. And obviously Sanchez is the highest paid player at the football club, and of course he's the highest paid player in the Premier League. And we do know he is one of the problematic players at Manchester United in that. But now, according to I think the Sun and the Mirror, they reportedly said now that 3 teams are in now for Sanchez. So reportedly Juventus are interested, Inter Milan are interested, and I think Napoli are interested. But maybe Sanchez, could be open, to making a return back to Italy. Obviously, I think, when he was a lot younger, I think he played with underneath did Sanchez. But, he's been a huge disappointment for Manchester United, since his arrival back in January 2018. Obviously, he came to the club, as part of a swap deal of Mkhitaryan going to Arsenal. But he just hasn't exceeded expectation levels at Manchester United. Sanchez, as we all thought he would have done, because he did have 4 good years at Arsenal. He was also an exceptional player when he was at Barcelona. He actually, played under Pep Guardiola's guidance, but he hasn't replicated any of this form at Manchester United. So he has, of course, been a huge disappointment. Obviously, we do know Sanchez has not yet played this season. He wasn't named in the squad against Chelsea. He also wasn't even named in the squad throughout pre-season, because I think Sanchez had been playing, on Copa America duty with Chile, and I think he actually, sustained some kind of hamstring injury. But I think recent reports indicated out that Sanchez, of course, is back in training and that. But Solskjaer's confirmed that he does want to currently offload him. Sanchez is 30 years of age anyway, so he doesn't have a future at the club. And like I said, I think his wages are having a really bad effect on the football club. I think we would be happy to pay the majority of his substantial wages, to take him out on a long season loan. But I think we find it very, very difficult to offload Alexis Sanchez and that. But he has been a huge disappointment for Manchester United. He's only made 45 appearances in all competitions, only managed 5 goals and provided 9 assists. But I did say, these problematic players now at the football club, and I think, we do need to sell more players. Obviously, we know, I think around 4 players have departed the football club since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival. Obviously, we do know Romelu Lukaku left last week, and it was good business for Manchester United, getting rid of Romelu Lukaku. Obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer gave his overarching view on the situation with Romelu Lukaku, and, he said it's a good deal that we've got for him. We've basically recouped the money that we'd paid for him a couple of years ago from Everton and that, and it's a really, really good business from the football club. Some people said we need a replacement for Lukaku. Obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer explained why we didn't recruit a replacement for Romelu Lukaku, obviously to prioritise the development of Mason Greenwood. Obviously, Valencia left the club after he served 10 years at Manchester United. He left at the end of last season. Obviously, Ander Herrera left, and of course, Marina Fellaini left. But I said more players, do need to be sold in that. So I think Sanchez is one of the players that do need to leave Manchester United. I think the only way anywhere we can get rid of Sanchez is probably putting him out on a long season long, because I think, we'll find it very, very difficult, to offload Sanchez, permanently. But reportedly, he's refusing to leave Manchester United. But, anyway, Sanchez is going to find game time very, very difficult. Now, obviously, you've got the likes of Daniel James in that attacking line. You've got Martial, you've got Rashford, you've got Greenwood upcoming, you've got Chong and that upcoming. So Sanchez is going to find it very, very difficult, of course, to get there in the mix. Obviously, he hasn't been first choice anywhere, Sanchez, especially, since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's rival. He hasn't been first choice, and I think he's become injury prone as well, since he's become a Manchester United player, because Sanchez, sustained quite a few injuries last season. But obviously, if Sanchez is to remain at the football club, Solskjaer's going to put him in, make him train with the under-23 reserves. This will probably force him out of Manchester United. But Sanchez could be open to making a return back to Italy and that. But like I said, he was an exceptional player at Arsenal. He was exceptional at Barcelona, but he just hasn't, replicated this at Manchester United. But I thought it would have been, brilliant for us, when we first got him in back in January 2018. But he just hasn't. He's been a huge disappointment, and he's going to find game time very, very difficult anyway. So I think it is pointless, Alexis Sanchez, currently being here. But like I said, Roma were in talks last week of getting him on a loan. Now reportedly Juventus, Inter Milan, and Napoli invented the race for Sanchez. So I think we've got to try and get rid of him. Don't forget, we can negotiate the sale of players until the 2nd of September, because obviously we still know that the European transfer window is open and that. So we can still currently sell players to European clubs. And it's not only Sanchez, I think, that should leave Manchester United. I think also Darmian should leave. I think also Rojo should leave, because they're two problematic players at the football club. Rojo, his Manchester United career has been mainly affected with the amount of injuries he has sustained. He did well throughout pre-season, did Rojo, but I still think we need to get rid of the player. Obviously we put around the £25 million valuation on the player. Rojo's still got just under 2 years left in his contract on Manchester United. Also, like I said, Darmian needs to go, because Darmian hasn't really been given a chance as a Manchester United player. And I think if Darmian is to leave the football club, I think he'll probably make a return back to Italy, because he spent the majority of his career in Italy, when he was younger and that. So I think there two other players, Manchester United need to get rid of, and we can generate around 30 or 35 million pounds for their departures and that. So I think we definitely need to get rid of them. And I did say anyway we need to get rid of a central defender, because obviously now we've got around 7 central defenders, and obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first choice centre back partnership is obviously going to be Victor Lindelof and Harry Maguire in the Premier League. Maybe in the cup games and that, he may rotate, a little bit, but obviously in the Premier League it will be Harry Maguire and Victor Lindelof his first choice and that. But I think now we need to get rid of at least one central defender, because like I said, we've got around 7 central defenders. We've got Maguire, we've got Lindelof, we've got Bailly, we've got Rojo, we've got Smalling, we've got Jones, and of course we have got Alex Tuanzebe. And like I said, I think Harry Maguire is a great signing for Manchester United. I think he's been a great addition to the squad. Like I said, he would be. He did well on his debut against Chelsea. But Harry Maguire's distribution's good. He shows that ability to play out from the back. He's also very, very good in the air. He's highly experienced, Harry Maguire. And I think we look much. I think our defensive transition looks much better. And we're not going to concede nowhere near as many goals as we did last season, because last season we conceded 54 goals in 38 Premier League games. Of course that was our highest total, of course, in 40 years and that. But now it's good that we've got addressed our defensive deficiencies, and Harry Maguire is the best option than what we've got in our back line at this present time. But with Victor Lindelof, these question marks, can he keep the consistency up? And I think Victor Lindelof can keep the consistency up. He did well against Chelsea, and he looked really, really good alongside Harry Maguire. And I think they're going to complement each other, fantastically well in that back line. I think Victor Lindelof, he's been at the club now over 2 years. He was disappointing in his first season, lacked that consistency, didn't really settle in. But I thought Victor Lindelof in his second season was absolutely superb, and I think so far this season, Victor Lindelof has been fantastic. So he is, flourishing at Manchester United. I think that we are orchestrating on keeping Alex Tuanzebe for now. Obviously, following the serious knee injury that Eric Bailly had sustained, and we do know deep down of how much of an imperative player that Eric Bailly is. He is very imperative, and he has got great potential, and really, really good when he's fully fit, holds his line well. But I think Eric Bailly's Manchester United career has been mainly affected, the amount of injuries he's sustained. So he is injury prone, just like Rojo is injury prone. But Eric Bailly, of course, has been here now over 3 years, and that I think we paid, was it around £30 million for him from Villarreal back in 2016. And it's not only the injuries he's sustained that's had effect on his career. I think it's also, with his fallout under managers, it's really taken its toll on Bailly in that. But he's out for up to 5 months with a knee injury, and he's out. So I say he's out until Christmas. Is Eric Bailly. Obviously, with Smalling and Jones, obviously, they're going to find it very, very difficult now, to get a game time. Obviously, because of Harry Maguire's arrival. Smalling and Jones, may still get their opportunities this season. I don't think Smalling and Jones are no longer good enough, to represent Manchester United. There's quite a few players here now that are not good enough, to represent Manchester United. And Smalling and Jones, we have seen glimpses of how good they can be, over the years they have been here, because they have been 2 long-term players at the football club. Smalling's been here 9 years. Jones has been here 8 years. So, like I said, they've been 2 long-term players at the football club, and it was a bad mistake from us, giving them them two new long-term contracts last season and that. But obviously we do know Harry Maguire is a great upgrade to the likes of Chris Smalling and Phil Jones. But I haven't got any worries defensively now, because we do look much better defensively. I'm also glad that we did get that right back that we wanted in, because I think Wan-Bissaka's been absolutely fantastic. Did well throughout pre-season. Also did well on his Premier League debut against Chelsea, did Wan-Bissaka. And I do really like him a lot. And I think he's got all the ingredients required to become a huge success at Manchester United, Wan-Bissaka. And I think he can emulate into like a Gary Neville. And I think he can be our fullback for the next decade. But obviously Wan-Bissaka is our first choice right back. But we have got quite a few fullbacks. I think Ash Young is the backup. Obviously we've got Diego Dalot, of course, who can play as a right back, a left back and a right winger. Diego Dalot, will get his chances this season. Obviously we only got Diego Dalot last summer, was it, from Porto, for around 19 or 20 million pounds. We've also got Darmian, who's a fullback. We've also got Luke Shaw, who's a fullback. Obviously, we do know that Luke Shaw is our first choice left back. I think he was quite average against Chelsea, but Luke Shaw is a very imperative player. I think reflecting on his impressive performances last season, he won the double player this season. Did Luke Shaw? So I think he's had a good career so far with Manchester United as Luke Shaw. But I do believe we'll look much better in that back line. Don't get me wrong, I've still got strong reservations about that midfield. And obviously we do know that our priority after getting a centre half in, was to recommend at least one midfielder in and that. But obviously, we failed to get a midfielder in and that, because obviously we wanted someone, to play alongside Paul Pogba in our midfield. But I did say, throughout the course of the summer transfer window, it was going to be extremely difficult for us, to address all the problematic areas in one summer transfer window, because obviously, this has only been Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first summer as Manchester United manager. But he did give his overall analysis, on the transfer window. Did Solskjaer, he explained of how much of a difficult window it is. He did say, he was delighted with the summer transfer business, because obviously we spent a substantial amount this summer. We spent 148 million pounds on 3 players. 148 million pounds on 3 players. But I think regardless of what happens this season anyway, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's job is going to be safe, because I think the board have come to terms, because obviously the vast majority of Man United fans they've criticised the board. They've also criticised Ed Woodward for not recommending all the signings in that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wanted in that. But I did say certain players at a calibre and level would have had reservations anyway about joining the football club, because obviously we're not in a Champions League football for this season. It's always hard to attract players to elite level when you're not in a Champions League football and that. But like I said, I think the board have come to terms. That they know themselves that they didn't back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer enough, and I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to be backed in the January transfer window. I think he's also going to be backed next summer. So I did say to if we can do further more investment in January and perhaps maybe next summer, I think we can definitely win the league for next season. Because analysing our current squad at the moment, I don't think it's good enough to win the league, but I think it's good enough for a top 4 finish. And I do believe this season our expectations will be to finish in that top 4, maybe win some silverware. And obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has got to exceed these expectations, because obviously the dimension of this football club, also the history of this football club, obviously we should be like at least in that top 4 at least, with the, like I've just said, with the dimension and the history of this current club. And we have been lacking silverware quite recently, well in the last 6 years should I say. We've been lacking silverware and that, but I think this season we could finish in the top 4, and we could also win the Europa League, and I think we are good enough to do that. But like as I do keep saying, we have got big ambitions for the future, and we've got big ambitions for the future. And obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to get us back to winning trophies and that, and this is something he wants to bring back to the football club. Obviously wants to bring the right philosophy to Manchester United. Obviously wants to bring the winning mentality back to the club. But Solskjaer's philosophy anyway is Alex Ferguson's philosophy, because obviously he's following Alex Ferguson's philosophy in that. But like I said, the board did assure that there was going to be backing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer throughout the course of the summer. But they didn't back him enough. So hopefully we can do further more investment in January. And I do believe the players that we was in for throughout the course of the summer who we didn't manage to get, we'll probably revive our interest in them in January. So we'll definitely probably go back in for Bruno Fernandes in January. I think we'll also maybe go back in for Christian Eriksen. We could even go back in for Paul Dybala. We could even go back in for Sean Longstaff, or we may go back in for Sean Longstaff next summer and that. So these are the players that that we was in for throughout the course of the summer and that. But obviously, there was a hell of a lot of players on our current agenda. But all I think that needs addressing mainly is that midfield now. I think we need one or maybe even two midfielders. But obviously, it's not. With the situation with Paul Pogba, I did say it's not having any effect on, a midfielder, coming in. Also, throughout the course of the summer, we was in search for a right winner and that. But like I said, I can see the vast improvements in Manchester United and that. I think the young players were a fruition, throughout the course of pre-season. I think they're also going to be a fruition this season, the young players, because we have got quite a few young upcoming players and that. We've got Mason Greenwood. I think Mason Greenwood's going to succeed as a Manchester United player. Only 17 years of age, did well for the reserves last season, did well throughout pre-season. Chong, I think he'll do good this season when he does get his chances, but they'll get the chances anyway. The young players, the fringe players, the experienced players, they'll all get their opportunities. My overarching view on McTominay, Pereira and Fred, I think they'll do better this season. Well, I'm hopeful that they can anyway, because I think they also, did well, throughout pre-season. I'm still very sceptical about McTominay, Pereira and Fred, if they are the long-term solutions for Manchester United. I'm still very, very sceptical about that. I don't know if they've got all the attributes, to succeed at Manchester United, but, I think, they will have a better season this season with McTominay, Pereira and Fred. Don't get me wrong, I think that trio are much better solutions than the Nemanja Matic, because I think they're more mobile on the ball. I think they're better on the ball than Nemanja Matic, because Nemanja Matic is another problematic player at the football club, and people talk about, what he's won in the past, what he won a couple of titles with Chelsea and that, and he's highly experienced, and we have seen glimpses of how good Matic can be, but for me he's too slow in that midfield, and every time he plays in that midfield, that midfield of course looks totally imbalanced in that. But yeah, very, very inconsistent is Matic. Like I said with Fred, we paid just under £50 million for Fred last summer. Obviously, we do know that Fred is one of our most expensive signings. Well, he is in that list. Fred hasn't performed to the same sort of level, as he did do, when he was at Shakhtar Donetsk. Because I'll credit Fred, he was exceptional at Shakhtar Donetsk, but hasn't really replicated any of this at Manchester United. Fred under Jose Mourinho never really got given the chance. Fred was good towards the back end of last season. I think he also did well, throughout pre-season. The games that Fred, participated in and that. But I think he's a much better solution than Nemanja Matic. Fred's still got a lot of development in him. You've got McTominay, that's still got a lot of development in him. You've got Pereira, of course, that's still got a lot of development in him. So hopefully we can try and convince Paul Pogba to remain at the football club, and hopefully if he does stay at the football club, that we've got to avoid him, getting an injury, because we haven't really got a backup, if Paul Pogba, of course, gets injured. So I've got concerns of elements definitely in our midfield and that. But I think, we don't want to look better defensively. I think, we also look better in that attacking third in the pitch now. Because, why? Because, we've got a lot more pace now in that attacking third in the pitch. And that's something, that's last season was that pace. And this is the main factor reason why last season, we didn't score enough goals. This is why I wasn't ruthless enough in front of a goal. But we do look now much better in that attacking third of the pitch. You've got Martial with good pace. Obviously Martial's got good speed in that. Obviously we do know that Martial is being given that number 9 shirt, and I think Martial anyway is going to be playing more central this season, because he seems to be more effective from that central position. You've got Rashford that's good at receiving passes. He can get them runs in behind and that. So I do believe Martial and Rashford are going to have a much better season this season. There was inconsistent in the last couple of months of last season with Martial and Rashford, but I still said at that time, they are still the long-term solutions for Manchester United, because they are developing really, really well. Martial and Rashford, Martial's 23. I think Rashford, of course, he's only 21. But there again, you can put Rashford centrally. You can also put him on the flank. Rashford can play well on the flank. He can also play well centrally, and that can mark as Rashford. But they are definitely the long-term solutions for Manchester United. With Daniel James, he's got electrifying pace as Daniel James. He's still improvements needed in his game. I think his crossing that needs to improve, and he just needs to be a bit more clinical as Daniel James. But it was good to see him score on his Premier League debut against Chelsea. Daniel James can play on the left. He can also play on the right, so his versatility is good. He's supposed to be more effective from that left hand side. Daniel James is still a prospect, so of course needs time to develop. Obviously, like I said, so we have now got that pace up front. But like I said, the majority of the team, will get their chances there this season. But this season is going to be a much better season than last season, because last season was a huge disappointment. Obviously, we finished sixth. Obviously, we failed. We didn't win many silverware and that, and of course, we failed to qualify for the Champions League and that. But I think Manchester United are going to have a much better season this season. But like I said on my previous video, my overarching view on a successful season for Man United is a top 4 finish and maybe a win the Europa League. That is definitely a successful season for Manchester United, and of course Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Then obviously next season obviously we'll be aiming to win the Premier League and all that, so we'll definitely see what happens. But there's definitely no players there that do need to be sold by the football club. But like I said, Solskjaer throughout the course of the summer, was talking about our recruitment policy. And let's be honest, our recruitment policy, hasn't been that good. Especially in the last couple of windows. We didn't get anyone in January. Obviously, we didn't get our number 1 targets last summer. But I've already explained the reasons why it didn't work out under the Jose Mourinho era. Even though Jose Mourinho's got that proven pedigree, he's won trophies everywhere he's been and was one of the best managers in the world. Didn't work out under him because obviously he had bad disputes with the board. He had bad disputes with the top players at Manchester United. Obviously, his priority was to recommend a central defender in last summer, and the board weren't back in the signs that I wanted to recommend into the football club and that, like I've just said. Obviously, there was no kind of winning philosophy under Mourinho. It was part of the bus football under Mourinho. There was no sort of transfer strategy under Jose Mourinho and that. This is why it didn't work out under him. These are the couple of main factor reasons. Even though we spent just under £400 million under Mourinho on 11 players, and them 11 players, of course, I think are still at Manchester United now. And Mourinho did win the Europa League and the League Cup in his first season with Manchester United and that. But at least under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he had a transfer strategy. Or still got one. Obviously, he confirmed at the start of the summer that he worked out his transfer strategy. He wanted to recommend a number of young players to come to the football club. That can go develop and emulate and that in superstars. But I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is the right man for Manchester United. I think he can bring the glory days back to the football club. I don't think we're ever going to replicate, what, we did under Alex Ferguson. Like, what I mean is we're never going to be the team that was under Ferguson. We're never going to achieve what we achieved under Alex Ferguson, and no one's going to ever follow Alex Ferguson's legacy, and that's obviously something that we've got to accept. But I think, Solskjaer's the right man for Manchester United. He has got the experience of a manager, not really to the highest level, but, he proven himself last season in his 3-month period when he was the interim manager at Manchester United and that. Obviously, he did win a couple of Norwegian titles with Molded Solskjaer, and that was a great achievement. He only had a short tenure with Cardiff, didn't really work out for him at Cardiff. But Solskjaer's at a football club that, he knows inside out. Obviously, he was a great player for 11 years under Alex Ferguson. He flourished under Alex Ferguson's guidance. Obviously, one of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's most iconic moments as a player, obviously, was back in 1999, of course, when we won the treble. Obviously, that's one of our greatest achievements. It's one of my greatest achievements. And obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer managed the Manchester United reserve team when he was younger for a couple of seasons. So he did watch some of this team at this day and age, of course, grow and develop. But like I said, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer basically is still in the process of rebuilding, because the majority of the squad is not Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's. There's only 3 players that have Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, so don't forget he's still inheriting 11 of Jose Mourinho's players. He's still inheriting players here from the Van Gaal era. Under Louis Van Gaal era, we spent a substantial amount, because Van Gaal, brought quite a lot of players in at the time. I think he brought the likes of Memphis Depay in. Memphis Depay, didn't really succeed at Manchester United. He enjoyed a difficult time at the football club. But I think since Depay's left Manchester United, and I think he has done really, really well. Is it with Leon? Is he at now, if I'm right, Depay? Obviously, we had the likes of Di Maria in. Di Maria, I think it could have been a mistake for Manchester United getting rid of Di Maria. We paid just under £60 million to him, but I thought he started well under Louis Van Gaal era. He did Di Maria. Obviously, there's still players here, like I said, now from the Van Gaal era. Martial's still here. Luke Shaw's still here. Obviously, Van Gaal recommended Ander Herrera, and obviously, he's obviously now left as Ander Herrera. Obviously, he brought the likes of Schweinsteiger in. Morgan Schneiderlin did Louis Van Gaal. So yeah, he brought a lot of players in. Did Louis Van Gaal? Falcao came in as well. Don't forget. Falcao. So Louis Van Gaal, brought him a lot of players to the football club that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's inheriting. Obviously, he's still inheriting players here from the David Moyes era. He's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, because obviously Juan Mata's still here, of course. Fellaini was here, but obviously, he left back in the January transfer window. And there's still players here from the Alex Ferguson era, of course, that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is inheriting. There's still Smalling here from the Ferguson era. There's still Jones here from the Ferguson era. Of course, there's still David De Gea here from the Alex Ferguson era. Obviously, we do know that David David De Gea, of course, is staying at the football club. As you all know, he has agreed a 6-year contract with Manchester United. I think worth up to around £117 million, and I think it's around 375 grand a week. So that's very, very good news. And obviously, of course, Ashley Young's still here from the Ferguson era, because obviously Ashley Young's been a long-serving player here. You know, he's been at Manchester United now, I think 8 years. So I think now Ashley Young's going into his 9th season as a Manchester United player. I think he signed a 1-year extension, was it, last season? Did Ashley Young. But yeah, like I said, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is still in the process of rebuilding. But like I said, a hell of a lot of money has been invested into the football club. £968 million, I think, has been spent in the last 6 years, you know, since Alex Ferguson's retirement. Obviously, the £968 million includes, you know, in total, you know, what we spent this summer under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era. So we spent £148 million this summer. But over the managerial era since Ferguson's retirement, we spent just under £1 billion. If you want to take into account what we spent under Alex Ferguson in the 27 years, you know, obviously it's way over £1 billion that we have, you know, currently spent in that, and obviously a hell of a lot of money has been invested into the football club and that. And like I said, it's not always about, you know, spending big on players. And you know, quite a few people said at the start of the summer, you know, we should be sensible with our current recruitment. But I don't like the way the club anyway has been run in the last 6 or 7 years. But like I said, I hope it works out under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And even if it is to go wrong this season, I hope he can still remain at the football club, which the board have assured anywhere, because they know they haven't backed him enough. And obviously, we've already sacked 3 managers, you know, since Alex Ferguson's retirement. And like I said, you know, we haven't got the structure to keep sacking managers. You know, we're not known as a sacking club, really. So hopefully, you know, it can work out under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And I'm confident it can. And I think he can bring the fear factor back to Manchester United, because we haven't had that fear factor at the club, you know, since obviously, you know, Alex Ferguson was in charge and that. But like I said, you know, we haven't only spent big on players, you know, in recent years. You know, we've also got, you know, players on big contracts. But obviously, you know, we can afford to do that, you know, because we're a massive club. You know, obviously, you know, we've got massive revenues and that. So obviously, you know, we can afford to do that. I want to give you the breaking news in regards to Paul Pogba. Now, I've just been reading Talk Sport. Reportedly now, Paul Pogba, you know, could remain at Manchester United, and he actually, you know, could reject a transfer to Real Madrid. Obviously, over the signing of Harry Maguire. I think this is actually, you know, stemming from Steve McLaren, if I'm right. I do believe that Paul Pogba's future at Manchester United, you know, still remains uncertain. His future, you know, does still remain uncertain, because he, I think, came out earlier on this week, did Paul Pogba, and he said there's still a question mark that remains regarding his Manchester United future and all that. But he's indicated out, Paul Pogba, that he could, you know, still leave this summer. But we know how much of an imperative player that Paul Pogba is, and obviously, you know, we do want to keep Paul Pogba at the football club, obviously with our failure especially to recommend a midfielder, you know, throughout the course of the summer. And you know, don't get me wrong, you know, when Paul Pogba is at his best, you know, he's one of the best midfielders in the world, and of course he's like 2 players in one. I did say Paul Pogba is really, really good at passing the ball. You know, he's really, really good at leading attacks on. You know, he's really good at passing the ball. Is Paul Pogba. You know, this is why he's very, very essential, of course. But yeah, you know, we have seen him at his best at Manchester United, Paul Pogba. But we do know a couple of months ago that Paul Pogba confirmed that he wanted to leave Manchester United. You know, he publicly admitted it, and he did say, you know, he wants to seek a new challenge, and he even did say he was orchestrating on putting a transfer request in Paul Pogba and that. But I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is basically, you know, doing everything he can, you know, to try and convince Paul Pogba, you know, to remain at the football club, you know, because we do know how much of an imperative player he is. Obviously, still 26 years of age, you know, still in his prime, still got a hell of a lot of development minimum now. But we do know for the entirety of this summer, he has been heavily linked to a move to Real Madrid. And I think his first choice preference has been Real Madrid, and his likely destination, of course, has been Real Madrid. You know, there's also been reports emerging now, you know, saying that he could make a return back to Turin. You know, because obviously he did have 4 good years in Turin, you know, with Juventus, and that hasn't largely, you know, replicated this at Manchester since he rejoined Manchester United, you know, back in 2016 and that. But we do know Solskjaer a lot has been talking about Paul Pogba. He's been talking a hell of a lot about Paul Pogba. You know, he's spoken to Paul Pogba himself throughout the course of the summer, but I think he's spoken to the vast majority of our squad this summer as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But I think at the beginning of pre-season, you know, you got Paul Pogba's agent Mini Raiola coming out saying that Paul Pogba is in the process of leaving the football club, because for the entirety of the summer, basically, Paul Pogba's agent, you know, Mini Raiola, has obviously been in the process of trying to get Paul Pogba's move to Real Madrid completed and that. But obviously, the transfer saga about Paul Pogba, does, still continue to persist in that. I think Paul Pogba's still got 2 years left in his contract with Manchester United, with an option to extend it by a further year. Pogba's not only the most expensive signing, he's also, one of the highest paid players at the club. He's also, of course, World Cup winner, is Paul Pogba and that. But obviously, we're very adamant that Paul Pogba's not for sale. We did quote out that we wanted around £180 million if we was, forced to offload Paul Pogba, and obviously Real Madrid are unwilling to pay £180 million. So basically that £180 million figure, we're demanding just more than double than what we initially paid for him from Juventus back in 2016, because as you all know, we did pay £89 million for him. But even though Paul Pogba's been mainly inconsistent since he rejoined from Juventus back in 2016, I still say in this market at this day and age, Paul Pogba is worth from between 150 to 168 million pounds. Obviously, Real Madrid have done good business throughout the course of the summer. They've spent 300 million pounds on 5 players, or is it just over 300 million pounds? I think they have generated some of that money back of Real Madrid, because obviously I think they've sold quite a few players, and I think they have generated around 100 million pounds. But I think when Paul Pogba said he wanted to leave, he was keen on playing. I think he's probably still keen on playing under Zinedine Zidane's guidance and all that. And obviously, it's Zinedine Zidane's number one priority target. Obviously Christian Eriksen's been on Real Madrid's agenda and that. But I think Real Madrid's preference is Paul Pogba over Christian Eriksen. Probably Christian Eriksen would be a cheaper solution. But obviously, they want to get Paul Pogba and that in. But I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did say a while back that Paul Pogba is being considered for the captaincy at Manchester United in a bid to convince him to remain at the football club. So if like Ashley Young's absent and that, I think Paul Pogba, will get the opportunity, to become Manchester United captain and that. Obviously, he did say a while back that we'd open negotiations over possibly getting Paul Pogba a new contract as well. Maybe, giving him a massive pay rise, get as well, to convince him to remain at the football club and that. But, it's not only been this summer, that Paul Pogba's been subject to a lot of transfer speculation. It's not only been this summer. Obviously, there was a lot of talks last summer about Paul Pogba supposedly leaving. Obviously, due to his bad relationship he had with Jose Mourinho, because he did have a bad relationship with Jose Mourinho. Obviously, Paul Pogba got one of his best wishes when Jose Mourinho departed the football club and that. Obviously, I think there was talks about him going to Juventus last year. There was also talks about him going to Barcelona, back in the January transfer window and that. But I'm becoming infuriated with the saga about Paul Pogba. I just basically want to know if he's staying or if he's leaving the football club. But according to recent reports now, he could reject Real Madrid and stay at Manchester United at least for this season. But I think Paul Pogba, we mainly saw glimpses of how good he can be in that 3-month period when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was the interim manager. I think this season he started well. He got two good assists against Chelsea. And I think he also did really, really well throughout pre-season there, did Paul Pogba and that. But obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he was working on, bringing the right players to Manchester United, but he's also working on, trying to convince his imperative players to stay at the football club and that. But it was initially an Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's plan, to build a side around Paul Pogba and that. But his future, of course, still remains uncertain. But he's indicated out that he could still leave this summer, Paul Pogba and that. But if we lose Paul Pogba now this summer, we're basically knackered, with no backup in that midfield and that. So I think we've got to try and keep Paul Pogba at least for now. At least for now. And like I said, I think we'll get top 4 this season, definitely. I definitely think we'll get top 4. Maybe we could even get the top 3 this season, but we won't win the league. But I did say I've already given my predictions for this season. I think City will definitely be up there. I think City are favourites to win the league again. Obviously, City are going for their 5th Premier League title all in all. Is it the 5th Premier League title they're going for? Obviously, they're going for their third in a row, of course, because obviously they've already won back-to-back titles of Manchester City. But City will be regarded as the favourites, to win it again this season and that. Obviously, with Liverpool, they'll be one of the favourites. I think Liverpool will definitely be up there. Obviously, Liverpool didn't invest throughout the course of the summer, but Liverpool, to be fair, did invest well in last couple of windows and Liverpool, of course, haven't won the Premier League, since it got founded in 92-93, was it? But all in all, they haven't won it for 3 decades. Liverpool, they are the best team in Europe. Liverpool, obviously, they've won 6 Champions Leagues, and that obviously, they did win it last season. But I think Liverpool, will definitely be up there. With Tottenham, looking at know, they did good investment. You know, they did really, really well, especially on deadline day. Did Tottenham, and I think Tottenham, you know, should be up there challenging this season. Obviously, Tottenham haven't won the Premier League as yet. Obviously, they've come close on quite a few occasions, but Tottenham have got a really, really good team. This is the best Tottenham team I've seen in this generation, you know, for quite some time. And I think Tottenham's expectations this season, probably anyway, you know, will be to win some silver, and it will be Pochettino's expectations. I think he's got to exceed these expectations, because Pochettino's a really, really good manager. You know, he's well proven in the Premier League. He's good at developing young players and that. And he's been at Tottenham now over 5 years. He's been at Tottenham. Before he was at Tottenham, he had a good short tenure with Southampton and that. But he's a really, really good manager. Just hasn't got that proven pedigree yet of winning any silver. You know, good achievement last season for Tottenham. You know, getting to their first ever Champions League final. But I think, you know, Tottenham, you know, should be up there this season. They should definitely at least get in that top 4. I don't think they'll win the league, Tottenham, but I think, you know, considering, you know, the business they did throughout the course of summer, you know, they should be up there challenging, should Tottenham. With Arsenal, I'm sceptical about them winning the league. Maybe they'll win the league again, but I don't think they'll win it this season, even though they did very, very good investment throughout the course of the summer. And Arsenal, don't forget, they had a bad start to the summer because they only got a tight budget. You know, they only got around, what, 40 or 4, was it? I think it was around 40 or 45 million pounds to spend in that. But, you know, they did really, really good business. So I think Arsenal should qualify for the Champions League this season. Now, with Chelsea, you know, they're could have a bad season this season. I don't even know if they'll get the top 4, Chelsea, you know, to be quite honest. I think they'll maybe finish in the top 6 probably, but they've got problems at the moment. And, you know, did they lose yesterday to Liverpool, if I'm right? I didn't watch the game. I think the game ended 2-2 in normal time, was it? Didn't Liverpool win 5-4 on penalties, if I'm right? So Chelsea have had a pretty bad start, you know, to be quite honest. But Chelsea have got problems, you know. They lost one of their best players throughout the course of the summer through Eden Hazard. Obviously, they've got a transfer ban and that. And, you know, with Frank Lampard, you know, has he got the attributes, you know, to succeed at the top level as a manager? You know, can he do it, Frank Lampard? Because, you know, he hasn't really got the experience of a manager. Let's be honest, he only started management last season with Derby, and I do believe, you know, he got to, you know, Derby to the playoff final and that. So Frank Lampard has had a bad start, you know, to his managerial, you know, he's had a bad start to his management at Chelsea as Frank Lampard and that. But I know, you know, the traditions of Chelsea. You know, he was a great long-serving player for them, you know, for 13 years. Obviously, they're all-time record leading goal scorer, you know, all-time record leading goal scorer with 211 goals, and he was a great player for Chelsea. But I don't know if he's got, you know, I don't know if he's got the stature to get Chelsea in that commanding position, of course, you know, where they do currently want to be. So Chelsea, of course, have had a bad start and that. But yeah, so I've already given my predictions of what I think, you know, is going to happen this season. But I'll be happy if, you know, Man United do get the top 4. I'll be even more happy if we won the league, but I don't think that's currently not going to happen. We haven't won the league now for over 6 years. Obviously, the last time we won the league was obviously, you know, back in 2013. Obviously, you know, that was in Alex Ferguson's last season. That obviously you can say that season, you can say Van Persie won us the league that season because obviously, you know, reflect on the amount of goals and that he scored. And, you know, going back to what I said about Sanchez, you know, when we got Sanchez in January 2018, I thought he would have made a sort of similar impact, you know, to as Robin Van Persie did, you know, when he was at Manchester United, you know, back in 2013. But Sanchez is just obviously, you know, been a huge disappointment for the club, and this is the main factor reason why I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, of course, does want to get rid of him in that. But like I said, that's mainly everything today. So the main part of this video was to give you the latest news about Sanchez, also give you all the rest of the latest news, and also keep you up to date of what's going on with Paul Pogba. Just to notify you guys before I go, I am going on a holiday this Sunday. I'm going on a holiday. I'm going away for 5 days, so I won't be able to do any live videos for the next after Sunday for the next 5 or 6 days because I will be too busy, so I won't have any time, you know, to do many videos. But as soon as I get back, you know, I will, you know, give you a couple of videos to keep you up to date of what's going on with everything and all that. So that's just something to let you guys know. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribing as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon.